All right, so I'm about to eat some good food here. It's not really good. It's not healthy. I know it's not, but excuse me. I'm about to eat some Dominoes, and Noe got me something. It's called a oh I don't know what this is. Fingers or fork? I don't know. I can't even show it without it. It's like bad. It's horrible for you. It is. It's horrible. It is. It's horrible. But it tastes amazing. But anyhow, it's not what this video is about. It's not about me eating some stuff that's bad for me. It's not even about the gallbladder, which is actually, I don't have one anymore, but actually that's doing pretty good. This is about someone sent me a link to a YouTuber. I'm not going to mention any names. But this person had a question, and their question was, how do you do, because I did videos that talk about Noelle and I's relationship and all this. And so the person asked me, because sometimes I go back and forth in emails, right, to answer questions. So this person asked me, how did you and Noelle handle the dynamics of your relationship, being in a interracial relationship? How did you deal with that? I know there was issues that we had with Noelle's family, blah, 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 blah. You know, how did you tough it through? So I answered that question. And then the response was, so there was no chance of you guys ever breaking up because of it. And I answered back. And then they sent a link to a YouTuber and saying, do you think that this is fake? Right? Now I'm going to say this. I'm not going to mention the YouTuber. That's just not what I do. But a lot of channels that do, because you know how I feel about the whole prank stuff. I think it's silly. It's not for me. I'll put it to you the way. It's just not for me. I'm not going to judge what other people do. That's on them. It's just not for me, right? I think that, you know, there's some people who like the pranks and the gimmicks and that type of thing. It's just not my thing, right? Typically, those channels get huge, but so do channels that show girls in, you know, thongs. It's a gimmick, right? It is. I mean, it's what sells. That's not the only job I have, so I don't really have to rely on it. And some of these channels, especially ones that are pretty big, they run out of things to do or things to cover, and so they will make up fake stuff, fake scenarios, fake things like, oh, I lost my house, and they really didn't. Or, oh, this is happening, and that didn't really happen. Or, oh, you know, we're broken up, but it's not always accurate. Now, I don't know for certain, but a lot of times this is just BS because they're trying to keep people watching. And especially when someone's talking about, oh, I lost my job, and they really didn't lose their job, or something monumental like, oh, you know, we're divorcing. Just putting that in the topic, people are going to click because people want to see car crashes. You know what I mean? People want to see it. But to me, I don't get that. You know what I mean? Like, people like seeing things that are kind of titillating. And so, yeah. Now, are some of these real? And you can tell when they're real. Yeah. There was a big YouTuber, and I'm talking like well over several million subscribe. They had over several million subscribers, and they broke up, and he had several million. So she had several million, he had several million. You guys probably know who I'm talking about. And they actually did break up, and when they broke up, they did a video about it, and it seemed real. Even though they did pranks and silly stuff too, that seemed very real. And they went through it wasn't like it took forever to get to the point. They got to the point, it was real, and you felt it. And everybody was like, this sucks. Like, you know, like, and you could tell that their relationship had started to decline because you would see it in the videos and stuff. So it felt very real and authentic, right? Making sure I didn't put my greasy stuff on the bed because that would suck. But yeah, so it felt real. And so it was true. They actually did break up, And again, people may know who I'm talking about because they're still very famous and they do successfully by themselves or with each other and all that. I mean, they're big. But some of these, a vast majority of these things, I don't think are real. But that's their prerogative. And I personally believe in, I guess, karma, but I just believe in what energy you put out there, whether it's real or fake, it's going to come back on you. And I think that a lot of times when you put that out there, you kind of speak it into existence. I'm maybe I'm silly, but I just believe that. So that's something that I will never do. For one, because there's no point in us doing that, and I can't keep up a lie. You know what I'm saying? I'm not good at it. I'm not good at lying. You know, like I've even tried to like fool Noelle when it comes to like Christmas gifts or when it comes to anything, and she could just read right through it. Like I suck at it, like because I'm just so like I bowl right down the middle. Now you may not like what I have to say, or you may think that what I said is wrong, and maybe it is, but I'm just gonna say it. I'm not gonna sit there and just make something up just because, right? So that's what I'm going to say about that part of it, right? I only saw like a few bits and pieces of that link that the person sent, and I was pretty much done, right? I didn't care. But let me address the other part about the being in a interracial relationship and not caring what other people do. I believe, and I've called myself this year. I've started saying that I'm a sovereign kingdom. Okay, I'm a sovereign kingdom, and that means that I rule my own kingdom. I don't let somebody else dictate what I do, what I say, what I think, none of that. And it took me a while to get to that point. And I've always kind of believed that in the last at least 15 years, that I'm not going to have anybody tell me how to live my life. I don't care who it is. And my mother, who, God rest her soul, I love dearly, I would never let her do that. Hold on. Okay, I had to stop. Sorry, because the kids are watching. It's, in the afternoon. And the kids are watching some YouTube channel on the TV, and it's so loud. Zoe turns the TV all the way up. So I'm like, good gravy. First I thought it was them, but it's not. It's somebody else. I'm like, just turn that down. But anyway, so I believe in being a sovereign kingdom. And to me, I will never let someone tell me, dictate to me what I should and shouldn't do. It just doesn't work that way. And if a person can't get with that program, then they can just get on. You know what I mean? Like, that's just how I am. So when I've gotten into relationships, it's a package deal. It's the way I see it. It's a package deal. Now some people cannot cut, and that's on them. But they cannot cut the strings of saying, look, like my parents are my parents, my mate or spouse or whoever it is that. And either I can celebrate them together, or I'm going to have to celebrate separately. Now, I'm not saying pick a dude or a chick that you just met over your family, or, somebody that you kind of got to know like a few months or whatever. Excuse me. But if people cannot accept you based on something as very primitive as race, then yeah, I don't operate in that space. One of the big things I think that the world misses out on, and this is not just an American thing, this is the planet. The entire planet does not understand the science behind humans. They really don't. They know that we're, Homo sapiens. But they really don't have an idea or an understanding about race. Most people on this planet don't. And the ones that do get it, really get it and understand what it means, understand that it's just a bunch of crazy. When people try to divide and all this other stuff, it's just stupid. And that is the big problem around the entire planet. In other places, it's worse than others. In certain parts of the world, not as big of a problem than others. In other places, it's just atrocious. And in other places, they may glorify one group that may not look anything like them, but then they downplay another. It's stupid. Some places around the planet can be all modern, but yet primitive in thinking, right? So, me personally, and those are places I avoid. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you can't judge me as a person, as a man, then, and of course, you're going to have a little bit of that everywhere, right? Anybody, doesn't matter who it is, you're going to have a little bit of that anywhere. But if that is kind of entwined deeply and that's kind of the belief, then those are places that are not high on my list to visit. And even in this country, there's certain places, certain states I would never live in. I may visit, but never live in. It's just not my thing. It's nothing wrong with people who live there. It's nothing wrong with people who live in those other countries. That's totally fine. I'm saying me personally wouldn't want to. When it comes to people, family members who don't like the fact that you're in an interracial relationship, you first have to gauge the type of person that you are. Now, if it's your parents and family that don't like it, are you strong enough or tough enough to deal with it? Because if you're not, you have no business in getting involved in an interracial relationship. And what that means is, are you strong enough? Are you able to deal with the negativity that you occasionally may get from people who are just roaming about, just common, average, everyday strangers? The nasty looks, the snickers, the stares, the downright ignorance. Are you able to deal with that? Are you able to deal with the crap that you're going to see all online and different places and where people can hide and throw rocks? Are you able to deal with that? And the big one is your friends. Are you going to be able to handle the fact that you may lose friends because they're not comfortable? They may seem like they're the most progressive people, but not so much. And you may have people in your family who are some of the most progressive people and out there marching, but they're cool until it comes to their daughter or son dating or getting with someone who is not like them. That's when things change. You see what I'm saying? So I'm not disillusioned. In other words, someone can be from Biloxi, Mississippi, and someone can be from San Luis Obispo, California. And I'm not going to sit here and treat the person from Biloxi as if they're a bigot, and then treat the one from San Luis Obispo as being this progressive, wonderful person, because it could be the direct opposite. You may have the bigot over there, and this person might be cool. Never had a problem. So I don't put it based on what a person looks like, where they're from, none of that. My thing is, if you're cool with me, I'm cool with you. But if you have a partner who can't handle that, or if you personally can't handle that, then you don't need to be in a situation where you're dating someone of a different skin tone. You have to be tough enough to handle that. Me personally, that's just who I am. I cut people out. If you can't get your act together, I cut you out. Now, in terms of Noelle and I, it was up to her if she wanted to keep in contact with her family. I can care less. But as far as I'm concerned, I wasn't going to keep in touch with her family. I'm not going to sit there and just be, just keep coming back. And some people say, well, you just got to keep, trying. No. Respect is something that I demand. Because I'm going to give you respect too. But if you can't respect me as a man, then we have nothing to talk about. I'm not just going to keep coming around hoping that you're going to mature and evolve to the point of where you understand that I am a man. I'm not going to do that. So to me, once they deal with their own issues, that's not for me to sit there and try to unpack for them and solve for them or work through with them. That's something they need to work on themselves. And then you had a few in her family that were cool, right? They were cool. But there were others that were not. And I'm fine with that. Like that, to me, I didn't know you 15 years ago. So it's not going to hurt me now if I know you or not. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, what the person I needed to impress and be good to and nurture and love was Noelle. You know what I mean? Like that was the person I needed to impress and, do all these things for. And she returned all that back tenfold. So to me, it didn't matter what anybody else think. Now, on my side of things, no one really cared. Like my family is very diverse. And so we have all different types of people as friends, different types of people as in terms of just family. Like even at my mom's funeral, you saw a whole United Nations of people because that's us. You know what I'm saying? That's my family. We're not where it's just going to be one thing. That's just not, I would feel uncomfortable almost. That's just not how we are. Now, some people may disagree. Some people may say that their whole family is just like that, and that's cool. It's just that I don't know what that's like. You see what I'm saying? Like that to me doesn't make sense. So in terms of you, I mean, I don't know if if you're asking the question just in general, if you're asking it based on getting advice for yourself or whatever. But me personally, I believe in running my own camp. And that is that either you're with us or you're not. And the people that are comfortable with us in our entirety. I don't have to sit here and jump through hoops in order to impress someone. I figure that, hey, we mutually respect one another, we get to know one another, and then we grow from there. Or maybe we just figure that, we're not really that good of a fit. That happens from time to time. You know what I mean? Like that's different. But when you have someone that automatically they're not going to be cool with you because of what you look like, then you don't need to be around that. And if you're with someone who cannot take a stand, then you need to go on ahead and just bounce. Period. You need to bounce. And so that's why as I gotten older, during time I got older, there was only certain types of people I would date. There had to be something in their background that showed that they had diversity on some level, because the family comes into play a lot. Now you can't always, obviously, because even though I chose that, it still wasn't perfect, but you still will have that. Even if you're dealing with people that look, the chick you're with looks just like you still have dynamics, because trust me, I know that too. There's still stuff. You know what I mean? Like it really doesn't matter. But I always made sure that when I got with someone, we had a lot of similarities in many different areas. Our friends were diverse. We were having the same education level typically. We were kind of making similar types of money, that we were kind of in the same similar circles, because anytime there's a stretch or something that's a little bit way off kilter, that just added more issues to the pot. I'm not saying that you have to be identical to the person, but there are certain things I wanted to make sure. And then having someone who's also a person of color is important. To me, not saying that, they have to be, but it was very important, because unless you're in a situation where a person can truly say, yep, like I have a very diverse family. And there was a person that a long time ago dated, and she was she was more like Susan Sarandon, because you got to remember, I got to be very coded with YouTube. She was very much like a Susan Sarandon, not in terms of age, but just kind of, and her, you would never think just by looking at her, obviously, but her entire family was extremely diverse, very, 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 very diverse. And that was something that was cool. I could work with that, because, there were certain things that, there was never this situation where I have to argue and say, look, you don't understand what it's like going through life. And she still didn't understand, but she saw, just through personal instances of seeing people in her everyday life, some of the crazy stuff that happens. So it was easier versus someone that has absolutely no clue. So it just adds to it. It makes it much more complicated. So personally, I'm just that type of person where I don't let other people slow me down. You know, if there's someone who I'm interested in, I'm interested in them. And I get to, I focus on getting to know that person. There are some people who say, yeah, you need the family, the family, the family. But if the family really loves their child, then they would be accepting of whoever they're with. I'm not saying if the person that you're getting with is just trash, that's different. If the person that you're trying to get with is just trash and they're doing the wrong things and they're this, that, and the other, that's different. But if they're just a normal, average, everyday person and they're, doing the best they can and your family didn't like it, that to me is silly. I mean, they can have their own opinions and views, but to me, that's silly. Because anybody can pick apart anybody. Like I can sit and find, I'll use Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos has a ton of money, but you can sit there and pick that man apart all day if you wanted to. You can find plenty of issues with him. I mean, anybody can find anything to talk about anybody. You know what I'm saying? And so, given the fact that, you don't live in this solid brick house, you have glass all around your house too. I can throw some stones. It's like there's no point in it, is my point. There's no point in trying to rationalize or trying to get a bigot to understand you. You just can't. And unless they're willing to go through that and understand why they feel the way they do and that type of thing, then there's no point. And if the person that you're with does not want to, and especially if they've got some long history with you and they don't feel like you're worth standing up for, then yeah, that's not the person for you. Period. I mean, that's just, I look at myself as a soldier. I want a soldier standing right next to me. I don't want someone who I have to pick up and carry whenever it gets tough. It'd be different if they're down and, I have to pick them up and carry. I don't want them to just fall down as soon as something tough comes up. And then they're like, well, you got to carry me, or, I'm going to play as if I don't have a dog in the fight, or I'm Switzerland. No, no. You need to be able to have a position and stand on it. Maybe your position differs than mine. That's cool. We need to discuss that part. But to say, I don't really want to, then that's silly. It's like, you gotta be with someone who's worth your time and someone who's going to have your back. Otherwise, people are going to walk all over you, especially if you're in a relationship where you don't have the same skin tint. Anyhow, hope I answered your question. I don't know if it was a bait question to see if I was going to actually go in on the YouTubers that you were talking about, because I'm not ever going to really do that unless it's somebody that is cool, that I know and they're cool with it. But I never just go in on anybody because that's just not what I do. And a lot of times I'm not that interested in other people's lives like that. But anyhow, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, I will see you. Take care.